Zuo Ci was a legendary Taoist who some claimed lived until 300 years old. He declared that his secrets to longevity were due to his Taoist sexual practices, also known as the arts of the bedchamber or room surgery. These arts were supposedly studied by Zhonghui's father, Zhong Yao, and also the Wei Emperor Tao Pi. Tao Tao's poetic third son, Tao Ji, also mentions in his essay on the theories of the Wei that Zuo Ci was proficient in the bedroom arts. It is said that Zuo Ci studied medicinal alchemy alongside breathing techniques to try and nourish his vital essence, and that he could go for extensive periods without eating. It's known that Zuo Ci was from Lujiang Commandery, but the dates of his birth and death are not. It has been noted that he was born in the year 20 BC and died in the year 280 AD, but he may not have even lived during the Three Kingdoms period at all. A couple of legendary stories that tell tales of his evasive magical abilities in encounters with Cao Cao and Sun Ce could lead one to believe that he was present throughout the collapse of the Han dynasty. Zuo Ci studied at Mount Tianzhu, where he devoted his life to many various teachings such as religious meals, supplementary guidance, intermittent fasting, and astronomy. The biographies of divine transcendence claim that Zuo Ci was an expert in multi-location, divination, and alchemy, whilst he had also devoted time to study the Confucian classics. As Taoist popularity was on the rise, it was influencing Confucian lifestyles. One tale tells a story of a strict Confucian, Sun Ce, who was chasing Zuo Ci on horseback in an attempt to kill him, but Zuo Ci dismounted from his horse and somehow managed to outrun Sun Ce by slowly walking away. If Sun Ce and Zuo Ci did have any similar but realistic incident like this, then perhaps it was an ideological feud between their beliefs that caused it. The next series of legends depict somewhat increasingly unbelievable tales of Zuo Ci's encounters with Cao Cao, but have tried to come to realistic conclusions as to what may have actually happened if the pair did in fact meet. Zuo Ci went to visit Cao Cao, who had offered him regular payment to perform his magic for him indefinitely, but Tao Ji noted this was merely a trick to keep magicians and their wild teachings under control. At a feast along the Wusong River, the first magic trick Zuo Ci performed had him catch an exotic fish from an empty copper pan. Impressed but not convinced, Cao Cao wanted to test Zuo Ci's disappearing act, and so asked him to fetch some ginger, whilst also proving that he left by asking the salesperson to buy 2 more brocades, which he could then check up on later. Zuo Ci then seemingly became in 2 places at once, where he miraculously revealed the requested ginger. On a separate occasion, without him authorising it, Cao Cao's entire court was fed with food and wine, and he later discovered that Zuo Ci had used his magic to empty every wine shop in the region to do so. It is noted that Zuo Ci used illusion techniques in this incident. I presume he used either sleight of hand, convincing language, or a combination of both, whilst just getting everyone really drunk in order to swindle them into paying. This could have then led to a food or wine shortage, and therefore an upset populace. When Cao Cao ordered Zuo Ci to be executed, he supposedly escaped by disappearing through a wall. He was then sighted at the nearby market, but by the time the guards arrived, they claimed that everybody there looked identical to Zuo Ci, and so he evaded capture. He was then spotted fleeing for the mountaintop, so Cao Cao personally led his men to get to the bottom of this. After searching for a while, and no luck in spotting Zuo Ci, a flock of sheep caught Cao Cao's attention. He announced to the sheep that he was only trying to test Zuo Ci's abilities, and did not want to harm him, when all of a sudden, a single goat from the flock stood on its hind legs and began to speak. As the guards ran over to make their arrest, the rest of the flock also turned into goats and stood up as well. This was the last that was ever heard of the immortal Zuo Ci by Cao Cao's men, and legend has it he returned to the mountains to practice his arts and to pass on his teachings so they ironically outlive him. Zuo Ci gave Ji Xuan the Immortal's Book of Liquefied Gold of the 9 Elixirs. Ji Xuan obsessively studied these commandments, which deepened his knowledge of performing exorcisms and aiding the sick. This marked the start of his career, where he tried to cure the ill with magic potions, which he claimed provided immortality. This is in line with the Taoist concept of Xian, which essentially means immortal. Ji Xuan's grandnephew, Ji Hong, went on to become the originator of first aid in traditional Chinese medicine, which then influenced later generations. Either Ji Hong, or more likely his grandnephew, Ji Chaofu, claimed that Ji Xuan's immortality potions pleased the gods enough, so much that it allowed Zuo Ci to return to the mountain once more, to pass on more scriptures. Known as the Numinous Treasure, these scriptures would go on to inspire the Ling Bao school of thought. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.